Are you like, would you say you're like a clumsy person? Because your pinky is also bandaged right now, so that's why I'm asking.
This is very different. I did peel off my pinky nail at work this weekend with an orange peeler.
Oh! What's up, everyone?
Hello.
We're back here today with Sad Alex.
That's me. That is my name.
So I heard you grew up in the East Coast, Delaware?
I did. Oh my gosh.
What was that like?
You did the research.
I did the research.
Delaware is one of those places. It's a great place to raise a family, great place to start a business.
Suburbs.
And yeah, and it's kind of, when you leave and then you come back, it's kind of right where you left it, which is cool, you know? Like, it's always, but actually there's been a lot of cool, like every city, I feel like there's little pockets of Delaware that are becoming really cool and trendy, and they're building up and trying to encourage like young people to live there and do cool stuff, you know?
Was there a scene out there when you were growing up, or was it just kind of not really?
A scene for
Like
what kind
music,
of scene?
like going out?
Music scene? Yeah. There's like a niche music scene there. There's like some bars and little clubs that have music. There's World Cafe Live there, which is really cool. They have like some cool outdoor festivals and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't been there doing music since I was like, I don't know, 19 or 20 years old.
Wow.
I would come back and do some shows sometimes, like during holidays or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So sorry, guys. I didn't mean to mess up your vibe. Oh my god. It's
So chaotic right now.
It is absolute chaos. This is why dog energy to me, like, don't get me wrong, I love, oh my god. I love dogs. I do.
I'm scared.
I do love dogs, but dog energy is so over the top sometimes. I'm just like, we don't need to do all of that.
Yeah.
I have a cat, and he's a piece of shit
too.
Yeah. I have a little cat.
Cat and a dog.
And it, like, they don't need to.
They're just on their own.
Yeah, they don't need to be yelling at you, doing the whole like overexcited thing, and that was a lot. That was some chaotic energy.
Oh
I
my
couldn't
God.
deal with that.
That's funny.
Oh man. But anyway, so I haven't been back to Delaware doing music in a minute. So I know the scene has been changing and probably built up a lot more. I hope I don't sound like I'm shading it. I'm not. I appreciate my roots.
And how did you start getting into music?
The story I always tell, I feel like I've told this story a bunch.
The
so not
12-year-old.
Well, maybe so you probably read it.
Yeah, I have probably read it.
I feel like, but my whole thing was like I was always doing music as a like I was very sacred about it. Like I would write when I would think I was home alone, and it was a very kind of sacred experience. But it was what I always loved to do, but I never really thought of it as a viable career option. So I remember I was kind of sort of pre-med in college.
And shit, so you were smart.
I was.
Where was college?
Loyola, Maryland, in Baltimore.
Okay.
So I was studying physics, which is like one option that you can do for like pre-med kind of style stuff. And that was really the only thought that went into that was like, I have a similar brain to my dad. My dad majored in physics, so I do it. And that was like literally all I really thought about.
Interesting.
And I interned with him at his practice because he's a nephrologist, and practices.
Sounds very intelligent. I don't even know what that career is.
Oh, nephrology is the medicine of the kidneys.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
So and he has a practice in Delaware, so I interned with him for a summer and watched him do procedures and all sorts of stuff and organized all of his like x-rays and whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that so wrong, he's gonna like cringe. But then the main thing that got me, and it was like a major turning point, like at least in my brain, was all the while like I had to wake up at like 7 or 8 to go to this internship. And there was a couple nights where I'd be up really late, like in the basement, I'd be working on like writing a song or something, probably some piece of crap song. But I'd be writing it, and it would be getting late, like midnight, 1, 2, but I'm like, no, I gotta finish this song. And I realized like that was like the only thing
That mattered.
that would, yeah, and like it's the kind of thing that you like, you give up, you know, your need for sleep for. And I went upstairs, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and my dad's working on like a spreadsheet for work that he has to do, and he has to be up before I do. Like he has to get up at like 6 in the morning. I was like, Dad, like what are you doing? You need to get up so early. And he's like, this needs to get done. I'm the only one that can do it properly. I need to make sure it's done. And it was like in that moment that I was like, damn, I will give up basic needs for something I love, like music, something that's like a passion, whatever. I'm happy to give up basic needs.
Wow.
But I can't, in my mind, I can't do it for this. Like I just could not picture myself ever wanting to give up those basic needs for that. But he does. Like he loves it. It's his like it's his work. It's his like what he's passionate about. And like that, it almost felt like I was like, I can't in good faith enter this further if it's not like what drives me to that. Because if I'm starting off at this point, who knows what's going to happen when I get burnt out and like whatever. If I'm already not passionate enough now, it doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
So I finished my degree, but at that point I had to choose a specialization, and they were like, what do you want to specialize in? And I was like, I don't know, I don't even like physics anymore.
Oh no.
And they were like, please, and they actually, I love the Loyola physics department. They gave me so much more. I was the only person that graduated with a physics degree my year. So they were like, really wanted me to finish. Yeah, like the music department, I had a couple teachers I loved there, but I never really got a whole lot of love for the music department. But the physics department, they were there for me, and they let me choose music as my kind of specialization.
Oh wow.
So I did this like music, physics, dual like combined little major thing, which was really cool.
Wow. And then did your dad eventually support your like a transition to the music industry?
Yeah, he supported the whole time. Both my parents, my family, they've been very supportive. I think I was probably one of the first people to, oh my gosh, I thought we were avoiding hills, but we found it.
It's fine. Like day.
I was one of the first people to kind of do a more creative or entrepreneuring kind of route.
Is your mom also in science or?
She was a nurse.
Okay.
And that's how she met my dad originally when he was in the Air Force as a doctor, and he was in London and met her in this pub, and it was raining, and they had this cute little love story. Yeah,
that's so cute.
Super cute.
When did you decide to go into music full time, or when was it like the moment?
It was right when I graduated.
Okay.
I finished my degree, and I remember my roommates I think thought I was crazy, and from their perspective, here's me not having really done anything serious with music for however long.
Yeah.
That 4 years in college, I was mostly just partying and finishing my degree and studying abroad or whatever I was doing. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do music. And they hadn't even heard my music. Like they didn't even know, like, and the stuff that I was writing was like hot sewage. So like it really, from their perspective, I'm sure they thought I was a crazy person. And a lot of respects, I mean, I kind of
This is a dog we like.
I know, we like this dog. He's actually really sweet. Whenever I walk by him, he's super chill.
Chillin'.
Yeah, that's a chill dog. But they probably thought I was crazy, and I was probably a little crazy. And I literally was making decisions. When I was weighing between LA and Nashville, I literally was like, well, I know 10 people in Nashville. I know 5 people in LA. I'll go to Nashville. And that was like,
Nashville's Music City.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I literally put my stuff in my car and then 3 weeks after graduating, I just drove to Nashville and started doing it there.
Wow. And what was that like? So is that when you started writing more? Did you meet a lot of people in the industry?
At that point, I was kind of in the very like boots to the ground, just kind of guerrilla style approach to the career that I was I was in the very beginning stages, like just starting to turn the faucet. So like I was writing with anyone that would write with me. I was playing live at these like writers rounds like probably 3 or 4 times a week. Wow. I was meeting constantly trying to meet people, had my business cards. I was trying to run around, like I always say to like people now, like there's so many things that make me cringe about how I was then. Yeah. But at the same time, what I really did admire was my blind commitment to like whatever I was doing. Yeah. It was absolutely fearless. I remember I was bartending at this place, and I remember like a publisher came in, and at this point I had like 0 good songs, like 0 good songs in my catalog. Oh my God. Ready to send people. Barely had stuff like properly recorded. Okay. And I remember him being like, he was sitting at the bar, he's like, yeah, do you have anything like that would be good for Little Big Town or something like that. And I literally was just like, yeah, I do. I did not have one single song. And I would email him some like really crappy songs. Like so many things that I was doing was just out of blind, just going
Did
for
you ever
it.
hear back from him?
No. No, there's no world where I deserve to hear back from the demos that I heard. But it was.
Anyways,
Can we get away from sound? I don't think so. This is
I don't
just gonna
think
be one
so.
of
It's
those
not the
nights.
sidewalk, yeah.
But no, I actually did it because I was managing myself. I was promoting myself. I was booking myself. I booked a tour like to Europe with
Wow.
my 2 friends. I made up a booking agent alias and I booked
shit.
us a whole tour leg in Europe. Like I used to
Wow.
do stuff even though I had trash music.
Yeah.
Which I think was really remarkable of me.
No, it sounds like you just, yeah, went for it.
I did.
We need more people like you.
I also
honestly.
am trying to get back a little bit of that, and I have been since I went independent a few weeks ago. So I've been having to kind of wake up that inner.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't hustling before, but there is just a different approach when you're independent. That you
Yeah.
have to be a little bit more proactive about things, and just networking and stuff becomes more important
Yeah.
because your circle
You
has
put yourself out there.
yeah, and your circle's sort of like diminished a little bit. Not for, I mean, like you still have all those connections, but it's just a different approach
Yeah.
to the career.
Dang. And then after Nashville, you moved to LA.
Yeah, I was there for like two and a half years, and I got like really depressed. I broke my leg. I did all this stuff,
How
and
did you break your leg?
I got a knee surgery because I had dislocated my knee like 12 times throughout my childhood, adolescence, whatever. And then I blew it out really badly in Nashville. They said I needed to get the surgery. I did. I had seemingly recovered and was cleared to work out, but had a really poor body image and stuff at the time. I was doing these crazy like CrossFit workouts and the whole thing. No shade to CrossFit, but kind of shade to CrossFit. And and I was doing a box jump, and basically the force of me, it was basically like that scene in Ice Age where the crack like goes all the way up, and then it got to my kneecap, and my kneecap just went like that.
Are you like, would you say you're like a clumsy person? Because your pinky is also bandaged right now, so that's why I'm asking.
This is very different. I did peel off my pinky nail at work this weekend with an orange peeler.
Oh!
Because I bartend on Fridays, and I picked up Saturday night this week too.
No!
And I peeled off my pinky nail. And it actually did not hurt at all in the moment.
But afterwards
It hurt very, very badly that night and yesterday. My life is gonna suck for the next like 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and then it'll hopefully be like Frankenstein healed, and then I'll have a pinky nail again in like 3 or 4 months.
Okay, I guess that is a different story.
That's oh my god. And that is like, maybe I am a klutz, I don't know, but like they're also just like 2 sort of unfortunate events that occurred.
Oh no, yeah,
But
that sounds very unfortunate.
The broken kneecap thing took probably 8-9 months to even get to a place where I wasn't in a really, I was at risk to have to get this really brutal surgery, but I managed to get the bone to heal.
Jeez.
And then once I was healed enough and cleared that I wasn't gonna like at risk of shattering my kneecap at any given moment, I was like, I can't. I wasn't in a good headspace at that point. I wasn't really taking my music seriously enough. I was bartending at this place that was sort of like sucking the life out of me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just drove to LA with no real agenda.
From Nashville?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a beautiful drive. It's one of my, let's go this way. It's one of my favorite drives.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
Well, the best thing is like you can do that drive in as little as like 3 or 4 days if you want to. But I didn't have any rush, and I had a good amount of money saved up. So I just took my time. I spent like a week getting there. I would stay with friends along the way.
That's nice.
Hiked like Zion. I did all these things. It was beautiful.
Wow.
It was one of my favorite things. Everyone always gives me, they're like, why wouldn't you fly and ship your car and whatever? And honestly, I would do it over again.
I feel like it's good soul searching time for you.
I
especially
needed
since
it.
you're
Oh my god.
home for so long, and you're just like
I just
recovering.
played Brandy Carlisle and like wept the whole time, just like heavy tear flow.
Yeah.
Constant driving through the mountains.
Oh my god. Wow. Okay, and then once you moved to LA, would you say your music career started like blossoming here, or?
Yeah, it's really cheesy, but like something did seem to, I don't know what it was, but in that time during the drive and stuff, I got a lot of thinking and reflecting and stuff, and a lot of things for me felt like they clicked internally, and then by extension, when I got here, I felt like, even I remember the first song that I wrote when I sat down here was like, it was Hung Up, which is a song that's out under my old artist project at the time, but like it was just really much better, like remarkably better than the stuff that I'd been doing, and I didn't know what it was. Almost like for the longest time with my music, I just kind of had accepted. I was like, oh, I don't think anyone ever likes their own music. I think that's just the way it is.
Interesting.
And so I kind of had just accepted in Nashville, even though I would be with producers, in my head I'd be like, I don't really like how this sounds, but I guess that's just, they know better than me, so why am I going to say anything, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And finally when I got here, I just like was able to start trusting my own instincts and do a lot more of my self production and demos and stuff, and I just saw an immediate increase in quality that I still had a long way to go. I still really needed, I still subscribe by that like Ed Sheeran songwriting's like starting a dirty faucet thing, and I still had plenty more shit water to get through. I still do today. I think we all have to write shit sometimes.
We're always growing.
But it was just like a noticeable change, and I immediately just got better connected here. I met a lot more people off the bat that were able to kind of get the ball rolling for me and expand my network and make more music that I actually had proper demos of and stuff, and that's what ended up getting me signed and
to Redbull.
Yes, honestly, like everything was awesome with them. I was like at that time and everything, when I signed for publishing, it was just like I got to be put in all of these amazing camps and like with all these people. It was a great experience that I absolutely wouldn't take back.
So what would you say is next for you then, since you left Redbull?
I'm working on an album right now, and that was the main thing. Like I could have kept working with them, but they had a different idea for what they wanted to do, and I just really believe in this next body of work that I'm doing, so I would like to do it. So I'd either like to find a partner to work on this with me or figure out a way to do it on my own. I want to keep on producing and writing for other people, which has been a lot of fun, and try to figure out new interesting ways to integrate my music releases with like some of this Web3 stuff going on, and like just trying to do I don't know, I'm excited for this next batch. I think it's a concept album, and there's a lot of opportunities to do like kind of unique rollouts with it that I am excited for.
Okay. And I know a lot of your songs, I guess not a lot, but some of your songs are inspired by, I guess, your relationships.
Revolutionary, I know. Absolutely.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
About my relationship life?
No, just like how your inspiration. Tell me about your failed relationships and why they failed. No, I'm just kidding.
Those ones did fail.
Just like inspiration and like how that came to be.
Honestly, I think it's interesting because there was a time in my writing in my life where it was almost 100% derivative of my personal experience, and I think it's important as a writer to have that and to build that. However, the best writers, in my opinion, are not only dependent on that, and I think it can become there's this narrative fed to writers that you have to be in pain, you have to be in personal life turmoil in order to continue to create great art. And although I think great art does come out of personal turmoil often, I don't think the best writers that I respect, and honestly looking to find longevity for myself, and looking at what I've written over the last few years, where so much of it has not been from personal experience at all. A lot of times I'm writing I'm reading like a book, or watching a TV show, or I'm working with an artist that has a completely different experience from me, or I see a leaf that is cool and I want to write about that leaf. Like, I think there's so many things that are not from personal experience, and I think the best writers have that versatility, and it's a false story that we're being fed, that we have to like continue to inflict pain on ourselves. I mean, I still do anyway, but like I can get the pain from this, channel it, and I think that's the thing. You can always
write a song about orange peels.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to, because my grandpa, who passed away a few years ago,
Oh.
he used to eat candied orange slices, peels. I think it was the peels, which is kind of weird, but that's what he used to love and eat. And especially at the end of his life, it was one of his favorite like snacks that he would still eat. So I did want to write a song about my grandpa called Orange Peel.
That's funny. Well, coming up soon.
Orange Peel.
Inspiration behind the story.
Probably coming out 2028. Something like that. But yeah, I just feel like I want to still be able to pull from my personal experience. And the thing is, like, once you've experienced pain, you always can dig back into that wound whenever you see fit. You can always reopen that wound and pull from there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be. I think it's a very surface level approach to writing to think that you have to only write from what you've experienced.
I heard friends who told me it's like, oh, ever since like Drake became happy, his music stopped being good or something. I just found that kind of like ironic or like funny.
There
they
are
base it on emotions.
Go back this way.
Okay.
Because that kind of goes nowhere.
Okay.
I do feel you, and I think a lot of people see artists go through that. But again, we have to remember that like music's entirely subjective,
It is.
and there might be people that listen to Drake's Happy album and like love that. I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. So where did the name Sad Alex come from?
My last name is Saad, which is Palestinian,
Okay.
and my name is Alex. So I just flipped those. And I mean, a lot of my music for a long time was mostly sad.
That's what I thought it came from.
It was. I mean, there was part, like, the reason the Sad Alex name felt so right when it was birthed was because it pulled out everything. It was like my heritage, it was the majority of songs I was writing at the time, it was my sarcasm, it was kind of allowing me to connect with like mental health initiatives and all these things that I care about. Like it kind of gave me the immediate brand recognition to do that, which I thought was really cool.
I see. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
The name. Yeah.
Ooh, we're working up a sweat.
I know, we are sweating.
Sweating.
What are some of the challenges that you faced while in LA?
I think the biggest challenge that is not revolutionary is the comparison game, which is even more so prevalent now when there's so many advantages that you have now, even as an independent artist, whatever, that you have the ability to break yourself with a click of a button, you know? But at the same time, these new vehicles that allow you to get success also mean that you see a lot of other people doing the same thing as you, doing it better than you, doing it worse than you, getting more numbers, more this, more success.
Yeah.
And so you will hear a lot more stories now. I feel like I'm hearing stories constantly, every week, every day, of another artist getting signed from their viral TikTok thing or this or that, the other thing, and you can't help but like put yourself in that same playing field, and you see the numbers right in front of your screen. You see that so-and-so's getting this many plays and you're getting this, and you're like, am I a nobody? And like those are things that I think are challenges, but I am lucky. I did have a good amount of TikTok growth last year. This year I haven't necessarily hit my stride yet, but you know, I'm out here chugging along, doing my
How
best.
has TikTok been for you overall, actually?
It's been great. I mean, I had a big year last year with it. I had that moment of having the most viral song and stuff kind of before it was like, now that's like the end all be all of things. And I feel like I had it with my Itty Bitty Titty song kind of at the beginning of that world, and I did like the open verse and all that stuff before it became this like huge thing that's happening everywhere. But not to say that I invented it, I did not. But that was a crazy time, and I think it was a lot. The platform was a little less saturated then, so it was a little bit easier to.
It's harder to go viral now.
Yes.
Yeah.
At that point, I had a lot of an easier time getting those kind of numbers.
Yeah.
But this year, I think I've built up a following on there that's bigger than any of my other platforms. So it's 100% I was just live on there actually while I was getting ready for today. I tried to connect people. But it's 100% a great tool to use. It's one of my main tools that I'm using for the next year or how long. But I always try to.
So chaotic.
crazy.
What was the point of that?
I know, so stupid. I always try to handle those things with like a grain of salt though too, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, there's always new things coming up, platforms that are deemed cool or uncool or cool again. Like, I see Facebook's been doing so many pushes with like huge artists to try to make their platform cool again, and who knows? Maybe they'll make it cool again. So like, it's just, you really can't predict. And so I think right now we're in the era of that being the main pillar of like, I mean, TikTok runs the music industry right now.
Yeah.
And that's cool. It's also pretty overwhelming and can be a bit depressing in terms of like,
people on TikTok are bullies.
They are. Well, so
they're meaner on any platform I've experienced.
It's weird because they will fight for you and support you and do. They're a great fan base in that they'll go to other platforms for you. They'll stream your music. They'll buy your merch, but they also will turn on you.
They will destroy you.
That's what's scary. Like,
literally,
I've seen it happen to a couple of my friends recently, and I think this is where it becomes dangerous too. It's like when you become very self-conscious about what you're posting because you're fearing that it's gonna insult somebody.
Yeah,
that's, I think, where things get really, when you're really operating out of fear all the time because you're having to try to.
You don't want to insult anyone. You don't want to say something accidentally like bad.
Yeah,
it's a lot to think about.
And you're also trying to think about, this is pretty. You're also trying to think about like the algorithm too, and you're like, oh my God, is this doing what's best for? So there's so many things that the second you start thinking like that, you are compromising what your instincts.
You want to post.
You're compromising your fulfillment, like what you actually want to do for like your music, and they're also like, you have to. I kind of, when I'm making TikTok videos, I sort of compartmentalize, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna deplete my soul of this much of its, happiness when I do this. And I'm like, cool, I'll do this, and then I'll do something else that will replenish me. And I try to like post things and not look at it for a while, because otherwise you'll lose your mind. So that's where I think it's at. But I've seen people getting torn up on there, and it's really scary.
It's scary. It's a new generation, and I am not here for it. I'm not here for it, but it's just like the new generation is very scary. I don't know.
It's so hard to stay within the lines of what is appropriate, what isn't offensive, what isn't, all these things. Like, you stay in, it's sometimes very hard to draw yourself into that box. And well, it's not always. Sometimes it's pretty easy not to be offensive a lot of the time, but it is a bit unpredictable on TikTok in particular. We're back.
I know, we're back to the dogs.
We're back to the dogs.
I know you mentioned that you're coming out with an album.
Yes.
Soon. Do you want to talk about? You said it's more conceptual.
Yeah. So basically, I'm not saying that albums are, especially in light what we're just talking about. I wouldn't really recommend that people do albums left and right unless you want to, but because it's really tough with how music's digested right now to validate the idea of doing an album. But what I wanted to do for me personally, I have been approaching music a certain way for the past few years. I've done the random 5 singles approach. I've done the EP approach, and what I try to do for myself is just try to make sure I'm continuing to do something different, because otherwise then you're just kind of feel like you're spinning your wheels a bit.
Yeah.
And my creative director and I came up with this. It was actually sort of his initial idea of an album that's kind of like a story of life. And you start at like when you're a baby, and then you go to a kid and teen and young adult, all landing on like modern day you, and all telling, like bringing up all the normal issues that come up with life, but all told through the lens of the music that you were listening to or influenced by at that time. So you have like the lullaby baby song, you have like a kid song, you have an angsty
and the music of the genre.
Punk. Yes, but it's all under the general umbrella of pop music, but it's still it's kind of, everything is influenced from a certain era of life.
Because when we were teenagers, we were listening to like punk, emo music. We got into pop, and we went to like this whole progression to EDM now. So
so I'll have like I want to have a look, and I'm almost done the writing portion of it, but having a look from every one of those eras that influenced me. and and then landing on like modern day Sad Alex, and then the whole resolution is that you want an answer to all of these things that come up in your life, but as you get old, and I think when you're a kid, you assume when you're an adult, you'll know all the answers. Yeah. But the title track is, I thought that I'd know by now, and it's just saying that you really don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. No, I'm really excited. It's coming together. It's really been some of my favorite stuff I've ever made. So I'm really looking forward to putting it out.
Do you have an expected release date yet?
Right now, we're kind of figuring out the partner, shopping around a little bit, figuring out the best home. But I'm not one to keep stuff in the can too long. I think I'm down to try to find the best outlet for it, but I probably wouldn't hold on to it for more than 6 months, 7 months. So I'm releasing a few singles in the meantime to keep the boat afloat. Yeah. But then I will definitely be starting this batch, because I think I'll continue to write music after that. Yeah. So I can do something else. But I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, a lot of upcoming things. Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or talk about before I close out this interview?
Stay hydrated, It's gonna be hot this summer.
As we're walking in whatever degree weather in the heat and going up hills.
Didn't bring any water.
Did not bring any water.
No water. I'm gonna have to chug some water when we get back. But yeah, stay hydrated. This summer's gonna be a hot one.
I think it's gonna be worse and worse every year because of global warming.
The warmth will continue.
Cool. But I have one last question for you.
What is that?
What do you want to be remembered for?
I think I want to be remembered for my genuinity, whether it be in the music or in my personality. I think that's what I connect the most with people. I try to keep it 100% real all the time, and I don't really know how to do it any other way. And a lot of times I think I end up having the best conversations or connections with fans over some really vulnerable stuff, over some really funny stuff, whatever it is. And so I think at the end of the day, regardless of how big I get or not big or whatever happens to me, I would like people to be like, damn, that was a real bitch, you know what I mean? A real a real emphasis on real, not on bitch. Like, that was a real
like a real one.
She
was a real one. Yeah.
That would probably be
on your tombstone. She was a real bitch.
Honestly, I would be like, sometimes,
like, not opposed. Whatever.
I've read some of my Yelp reviews,
But anyways, thank you so much for jumping on today. This was really fun, and we'll see you next time, Sidewalk fam.
Bye guys. Bye.